from isolated specializations to making or understanding the concepts as a whole. Concepts as a complete totality is what is needed for futuristic skills. Understanding or perceive interconnections, identify certain patterns, and finally distinguish or design sustainable change for the times beyond. That is what the core skill of systems thinking would be needed. In fact, systems concept comes from biosciences and essentially is a concept where the core belief is not belief, but core fact is that everything is related to everything else within a system. All systems are embedded in the environment, and a lot of subsystems are embedded in the system itself. And everything, every part of the system has some kind of a semi-permeable membrane, which where the exchange of energy, information, and materials is taking place on an ongoing way. So, systems thinking not only takes care of the internal components of an organization, internal components of a body, internal components of anything that we are analyzing, but also relationship of each of these components or subsystems with the environment. Okay, like if I take a factory, or if I take a C corporate, it is interacting. It's subsystems like finance, production, marketing, okay, planning, and other subsystems. They're all interacting with each other, but at the same time, they are interacting with the country's social, political, economic, legal environment as well. So there is a continuous kind of an exchange of energy, which we call as a symbiotic relationship between subsystems and systems. Now, this is where it actually works. We are talking from parts, we are landing into the wholes. Whole here is complete. There's a paradigm shift from linear to dynamic thinking. You have multiplexity in thinking. You have multiple kind of approaches in thinking. You don't see symptoms in systems analysis. We go for root cause analysis, and it's not just constructual in a particular context. Well, there's a multi-scalar awareness. So we have to understand all those feedback loops, the delays, and unintended effects also. And you have to create not only three-dimensional, four-dimensional at times, a multi-dimensional model for these interconnections. In fact, it can go up to n dimensions. So visualization becomes the key to understanding and growth here. These systems are designed for resilience. That means you prioritize adaptability over efficiency. As technology changes, the organizations have to go to industry 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, on and beyond. Once the tariffs are imposed on different countries by US or by any other country, you have to design your products, uh, even change the materials times to make them cost effective. Yeah, what you're doing, you're trying to embed learning with the feedback loops. What you're trying to make is equity-centered system design. Okay. And of course, you're trying to link the short-term outcomes to the long-term outcomes. In the complexity, very, very, very complex environment, you are trying to see what we call as the fractals. These are nested designs. Even in most, you see, these fractals are being used in analyzing the geographical systems. These days, predictions related to weather are much more reliable than they were earlier. Reason being, now fractals are being identified. Same way, in space research, the fractals are being identified. So that's what makes these very interesting. Then there's a shared language for complexity. There's collaboration and leverage. There has to be cross-disciplinary dialogue because you can approach the same problem in multiple ways. Okay. So there's participatory mapping as well as inclusion, and you are trying to identify leverage points for change. What you need to do is to redesign systems, not firefighting. Okay. That will create more space for futuristic work. The emphasis of all systems analysis is basically future readiness and sustainability because you engage in multiple time horizons, present, future, and post future as well. We talk of scenario planning and foresight. There are circular and regenerative designs. There's policy coherence and innovation resilience. And of course, intergenerational responsibility is the key to this kind of approach. Now, systems thinking as a way of being, you see, it's a systems literary mindset is needed. You need to learn to think problems in a holistic way rather than an isolated way. Humility and ethical engagement are the key to the whole process. Healing systems, systematic harm is also a key to this. I see if we look at the world politics today, we need to have a systems approach, or else these isolated approaches which are being adopted by most international leaders is going to lead to more and more and more and more of crisis. Crisis doesn't seem to be actually over. Where is the problem? Uh, Short-term solution was United Nations, IMF, WTO, and so on and so forth. But how about uh, impact of these in today's world? We need to redefine the whole systems. Then you have to have lifelong practice of interconnected awareness. Okay. That means we need to understand that everything here is interconnected. It's not isolated. The problem of Soviet, problem of Russia, problem of US, problem of China is not isolated. They all are vying for the same superiority across the world. One through technology route, another through prosperity route, another through maybe, as we've seen very recently, tariff routes and so on and so forth. Maybe in some cases it's just war, trying to prove that you are the strongest. But that is leading to nowhere. It's not victory for everyone. It's almost resulting into defeat for everyone. Fine, then. Thank you very much, and we'll get back to it later.